You got the pussy where me looking for. Y'all no put on the match me car. So come roll with a superstar.
You have been living your best life these past couple weeks. Music festival in Toronto with Drake, Boogie Cousins' bachelor party in the Bahamas. You and I are sitting here right now in Las Vegas. It's been an okay summer, and then that whole contract thing, too.
Draymond was rumored to be released from Dub Nation, but instead he is backing up the Brinks truck getting paid.
The Warriors keeping the core together.
Draymond Green and the Warriors have agreed to a $100 million extension.
Was there a point where you maybe got up to the hotel room where you had a second alone that you just said, damn, $100 million?
There's been several points where I've sat back and said, wow, I signed for $100 million. Like, that's not your normal thing for a kid from Saginaw, Michigan. Like, I'm still at a loss for words about it.
You were never the most highly recruited guy going into college, out of college, 35th pick in the draft. And then even once you were successful, there were a lot of people who did not like the way you went about your business. You had arguments with your coaches, teammates, suspension in the NBA Finals. What does this contract say validating the way you have gone about your life and your career?
This contract tells you that all the garbage that you tried to say about me arguing with Kevin or about the thing with Steve Kerr, about the suspension, it just tells you that there was a method to that madness. And while so many people tried to write it differently, it's proof in the pudding now that you were wrong. And I enjoy that just a tad.
Oh, just a little bit?
A lot. I am the guy who you said could never play in this league. You were wrong. I am the guy who you wanted to make out to be a dummy. You couldn't have been further, much further away from the truth.
There was a lot of feeling in front offices around the league that, hey, of the core guys, Draymond's the one that they should move on from. What did you hear from the Warriors about their reasoning, why they didn't want to do that and they thought keeping you was so important?
I've only, had the utmost support from the organization. And so that's all I've ever really went with. I heard the noise. I've heard that over and over again. But, on the flip side of that, I also had a great organization telling me the complete opposite. I could have been a fool to believe it, but it don't seem like I was such a fool after all.
And on your side, too, there were people who have been saying over the past couple weeks, why would he sign this extension now? Next summer is not going to be like this past summer. You would have been the most high-profile free agent available on the market. So why lock yourself up now on your side of things?
Well, I think a few reasons. People always talk about testing the market. But if you're testing something, there's a possibility that you come up short. Okay, that's one side of it. The flip side of it is I got two guys that I've been rolling with since the time I stepped into this league, in Steph and Clay. We started this whole Golden State thing when it wasn't so sexy. Why would I get to this point where we done built this entire organization up and bail on it? Like, you don't bail on your baby. The Golden State Warriors, that's our baby.
The Golden State Warriors are going to look very different from here on out, though. The biggest departure is, of course, Kevin Durant. Have you talked to Kevin this summer?
Absolutely. I actually talked to K yesterday. That's my brother. If someone would have told me, man, Kevin Durant's going to come to the Warriors, and you guys are going to win 2 championships and then have a shot at winning the third, would you take that? In a heartbeat. And so that was a major success, and I'm happy for him.
How did he tell you that he was picking Brooklyn?
I found out that he was picking Brooklyn when everybody else found out, which is exactly how it should be. He don't owe it to me to tell me before he tell everybody else. Like, we did what we had to do. The thing that people forget about in this league is, like, this is our lives. I'm not about to go to Kevin Durant and say, hey, Kevin, can I get my fiance pregnant?
Right.
Like, that's my life.
Thank you for that visual, by the way.
I'm sorry, but it's my life. Like, am I supposed to come to you and A, let you know that that's what I want to do, or B, ask you for permission? No. And so I found out when everybody else found out, which is exactly how it should be.
We remember what you said at the end of the NBA Finals.
Everybody thinks it's kind of end of us. That's just not smart. We're not done yet.
Do you still feel that way?
I have heard people say we're not going to make the playoffs. That's crazy to me. I mean, that's just like, That's total disrespect, but no different than the disrespect we've all been getting for years.
What kind of Draymond Green are we going to see this season? Because last season, there were points where you got injured, that tumbled into you being out of shape. You had 5-year lows in a lot of major categories, shooting problems. Then in the playoffs, we saw a totally different Draymond Green. Diet, you were a monster on the court on both ends. Are you going to be able to keep that up through all of next season?
Absolutely. Last year taught me a lot. You know, diet, you know, taking care of my body, you know, all the things that I'm 29 now that I need to know. And I was able to get that through the course of last year and still able to rise up throughout the playoffs and do what I've normally done. I look forward to doing that for the entire season again and again and again. And so what Draymond Green will you see? A different one, because the circumstances are different, but the method behind the madness always remains the same.
So we're sitting here in Las Vegas. The odds makers have not given you guys good odds to win the title compared to some of the other teams. And it reminds me a little bit of the beginning of this conversation. You were not given very good odds to be sitting here doing this interview talking about your $100 million contract. What do you make of odds as you go forward here?
I like it. You know, being an underdog, it's been a while since we've been an underdog. But it brings that underdog chip back. And I miss that chip. I'm pretty sure Steph missed that chip. And some of the stuff Clay been texting me this summer, I'm positive he misses the chip. So I like where we're at. I'm excited about it and looking forward to it. So to the odds maker, thanks. You got me where I am today. I look forward to where they take me again.
Interview with Rachel Nichols with Draymond Green, you know, my thoughts on it. Salute to you, Draymond. You deserve the respect. You know, for somebody who has a lot of confidence, for somebody who was drafted in the second round, he wasn't the most sought-out player. He wasn't the most exciting. He wasn't the most athletic. He wasn't the most, you know, talented player. But he plays with a lot of heart. He has a high basketball IQ. You know, problem is that there's many times where he shows his emotional instability that can cost his team games and not have his head in the game, which is usually most of the times not a good thing. But look at it this way. Here's what I think about Draymond Green. Sir, you are not worth that max contract. The reason that you got that max contract is because of Kevin Durant. If you had not done what you had done in the regular season, and if Kevin Durant had stayed, you wouldn't the one who would be most likely going, and the Warriors would have looked to replace you. But because Kevin Durant left, they could not afford to lose you. So, in one part I understand it. Draymond Green is homegrown. It's good that he's with Golden State, don't get me wrong. But the reason that you got that max deal is because there was no Kevin Durant. Because Kevin Durant was supposed to get that max deal. The problem is, Bob Myers exposed the contingency plan with Kevin Durant and what he said at the 2017 championship already. Basically what he told him was, you are a luxury, not a necessity. Draymond Green, you did the same exact thing during the regular season when you called them the B word and you said that we won without you. In other words, what you basically said is, Kevin Durant, you are a luxury, not a necessity. The thing with Golden State was, Kevin Durant was not only a luxury, he was a necessity because of the psychological advantage that LeBron and the Cavaliers would have had on your asses had y'all not obtained the services of a KD 3-5. Just like how KD would not be remembered as an NBA champion had he not joined the Golden State Warriors. So what am I saying with this, ladies and gentlemen? Basically, the Warriors benefited from Kevin Durant, and they took him for granted. And Kevin Durant got 2 Finals MVPs and 2 rings, so he is an NBA champion. Whether we like it or not, it is in the record books. You can put an asterisk any way, shape, or form that you want. But the bottom line is KD is a champion. And that's how he wants to be remembered. He didn't want to be like Reggie Miller. He didn't want to be like Patrick Ewing. He didn't want to be like Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Steve Nash. He didn't want to be like those guys. Allen Iverson, he wanted to win a championship. So he didn't want to be remembered like those guys. Because think about it this way. If Kevin Durant had not won a championship, how would we be looking at KD? We would have just said he's an elite scorer, 4 straight scoring titles, multiple All-Star appearances, an MVP, but he never won the big one. And the one time he won, he lost to LeBron James in the Miami Heat. So that's how we really look at Kevin Durant. But now what Kevin has to do is he has to prove that he could be the guy and he could be the leader of a championship team. See, it was slowly turning into KD's team this past season. But the Achilles injury changed everything, and now Kevin Durant has to start from square one. Because if we look at the situation, ladies and gentlemen, once again, the media wanted the Warriors to win so badly so that they could stick it to Kevin Durant. What happened though? Steph Curry and company could not get the job done. Klay Thompson and KD got injured. So what happened? The media demonized Steph Curry for his shortcomings and not being able to fulfill the media's narrative to blame on Kevin Durant. And why is that? Because Kevin Durant said it best. He has become the most polarized player since Kobe Bryant because he told y'all. He said that pollution in the air from you media heads around LeBron James is so toxic. He has so many fanboys in the media that it gets sickening to really play basketball and you really can't play around LeBron James. You guys took it, you twisted his words, and you ran with it and made stories about it. Right? Because he's been known as a snake, he's been known as a cupcake, he's known as Mr. KD, Mr. Burner account Durant, right? Or KD sensitive cupcake Durant, right? Or KD always will be a 73-9 snake joining Durant, right? But guess what happened? Steph Curry failed. He got the bashing, especially by Mr. Max Kellerman, right? And KD got somewhat of a pass because he showed that he was committed to the team and sacrificed himself for the good of the team to try to help the team win. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened. And now he's moved on to Brooklyn because he's out to prove himself. It's like I said before, KD's looking for validation. And he wasn't going to get it in Golden State because Bob Myers exposed a contingency plan. Draymond Green had that scuffle that you knew that KD really never recovered from that. And Draymond could say that he spoke to KD all he wants, but I don't think Kevin Durant's ever going to forget that. And then again, this is Steph Curry's team. He was never going to get that validation. The Warrior fans appreciate what he did for them, and the Warrior organization took it for granted. KD got what he needed out of them, and the Warriors got what they needed out of him. That's what I'm going to say. And so Draymond Green screwed that up. So now they have to start from square one. And as he says, he's 29 years old, and that now he has a better idea of how to take care of his body when he really wasn't doing that for a lot of times throughout his early to mid-20s. So now he really needs to understand on what he needs to do now, since he is now about to be 30 during the season. So it's very important. And now I think Draymond is out for blood. He says the dynasty is not over. I said that the dynasty took a break. That's what I said. And I said that the Warriors were very successful and they're going to be competitive. How far will they go? I don't know. It depends on who they pick up. How Klay Thompson looks post ACL injury. How Steph Curry looks. How D'Angelo Russell looks. And we got to see if they can add any type of depth to that team. But Draymond Green, as much as I respect your humility and your hustle, as much as I respect, I would like to say that you have humility, but there's some instances where you don't, especially when you tend to run your mouth because you're on this Golden State team. But you're homegrown, I respect that. But remember, the reason you got max money is because of Kevin Durant not being there, because you would have not gotten it, and I think the Warriors would have moved on without you. Just my opinion. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy Lewis with another one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, because as the title of the shirt says, I'm so fly. You already know the deal. Let's up. Live, laugh, love, peace. Thank you for watching the video. DJ Spin that.
I got bitches in my swimming pool, real life mermaids, models in my living room, Line Von Hermes, hey, yeah, nigga.